This guide is for the Rhino plugin for the rrSubmitter tool for raw render and submitting your render jobs for the UTSOA Render Farm through Rhino 6.x. First thing you'd like to do is make a successful VPN connection to vpn.utexas. Next is go to the SOA wiki and do a search for render. This should bring you to an overview of the render farm and submission workflows. Next step is to download the Rhino plugin, which is right click and save the link as. I'll save that to my desktop. This brings us to the steps for installing the Rhino plugin. Next step is to have Rhino open. I have my Rhino software open here, and here is the rSubmit plugin, which drag and drop that plugin, which is an RHI file, into Rhino. You should see a Rhino package install wizard, and you'll install it just for yourself. Next and close if all goes well. And you'll need to close Rhino and reopen to see that submission tool work. Is to enter the command called edit Python script, which resets the scripting for Rhino. If all goes well, you'll see this pop up as the Rhino Python editor. Just minimize that, and the command you're looking for is rrSubmit Rhino, which initiates the Rhino plugin for raw render. If all goes well, you'll see a Save Scene window pop up, and this will trigger the submitter plugin to launch, which you may have to wait a minute. Again, here's that gray screen again that will say whether or not you have permission to use the Arch Render server. Contact your professor if you see that screen pop up as black. That means installation is not going to go well. But in this case, that was a gray screen. The submission tool is loading the render apps, and we'll have to wait a minute. The rrSubmitter tool is now open and ready to submit your Rhino file. And if you've seen the other tutorial on an rrSubmitter, this same screen, same farm, same settings. The difference here is you'll see the .3dm file or your Rhino file. One step you might want to take here is to provide a path for the scene database, which Rhino does not send over in the submission tool. Double check your sequence here, which have many frames. Scene folder, scene name, that's fine as a default. I'm writing TIFF files. This is where you can change the extension to bitmap, PNG, TIFF, EXR, your choice. In this case, I'm submitting looks like 499 frames of animation from Rhino itself. I'd like to select the production farm assign only because that's where I want my job to go. And I'm unchecking the render preview first as I know my file's set up and ready to go. So I'm going to skip that step. Notice down here in the bottom left that Rhino is the choice. I actually used the default Rhino render in this case to submit this job, and I'm just going to let it go. While we're here, notice that the renderer, other than Rhino render, was V-Ray. So if I was using the V-Ray renderer, that would pop up as the choice for the render engine. Next step is to monitor your job after submission, and how to do that will be the archrender.austin.utexas.edu and the URL in any browser. And once my file's been submitted, you'll notice it in the list. And of course, there's my EID again in the top left, so this allows you to see your own jobs. You could also view your own jobs through the RR control plugin, which is in another guide. But that is it for the Rhino submission and plugin installation. And thanks for watching.